Hello and welcome back to the Yarn Hoarders Crafting Podcast. My name is Sasha and I'm coming to you today from a partially sunny, partially wet town just outside of Birmingham in the West Midlands here in the UK. And this is episode 60, I believe. And it is 20 past 4 in the afternoon on the 4th of June. So the finish along has officially begun. The link to that is in the description box below to the Ravelry if you'd like to join in. The finish along is a make along I am hosting where you focus on whips sort of the next 3 months. You can focus on one whip, you can focus on multiple whips. The goal is to just clear the needles a bit, get a few finishes, a few summer wins. And with that, I have actually pulled out an old whip to work on, along with a couple of other whips. So I have 3 works in progress to show you this week. I have a half-finished object, and decent progress on... Well, I'd say decent progress on both of the other whips. They're both garments. There is technically one more whip, which is a new cast on. The problem is I can't show that in case somebody is watching this, so I can't really show that, but at the same time the yarn for that has not been counted as going into stash, so it doesn't really count towards like my stash down. I'm not really stashing down, I'm trying to be stash neutral. Anyway, we're like 2 minutes in and I haven't talked about any knitting yet, so we shall start with my half-finished object. And this is literally half-finished because this is all I've got. I have one sock. I finished this last night. Like right before bed, I was like, I have literally just got the kitchen to do, so I took the extra 2 minutes and finished it, so... I don't really suffer from second sock syndrome, so it's not a problem for me to not instantly cast on the second sock unless I'm having some kind of issues with it. But this looks huge. Like this looks like it should be a Christmas stocking. So these are going to be socks for my partner, for my amazing other half, using yarn he picked out from Stephen and Penelope. This is, get the label out, Sasha, that would be useful, Dark Omen yarns, which is an Italian yarn dyer, and this is the 80-20? 75-25 superwash merino nylon blends. The base is called Merino Sock, and I'm using Rejuvenate as the mini, which is this. It's kind of like a creamy grey base with blue and purple and green speckles. And then the main colour is called Scuba Dive. I would pull the cake of this out, but it's currently attempting to fall apart in the bag. I should probably make some yarn cozies for my skeins because that would probably be useful. But I shall add that to the very, very long list of things to knit. So we have 20 rounds of 2x2 rib for the cuff, 80 rounds of stocking stitch for the leg, 18 repeats of the slip stitch for the heel, and then I do a gusset, heel flap and gusset construction. There is 76 rows from gusset pickup to the toe, and I knit these on 2.75mm needle, because if I knit these on a 2.5, which is my usual size for knitting socks, I'm pretty sure I'd have to cast on 80 stitches compared to the 72, and the foot would be probably closer to 90 rows in length before I start the toe. And then because he has incredibly wide feet, he also has like a really wide wedge toe. So the toe feels like it takes no time at all because it's so wide. So these are 72 stitches and I go down to 36 stitches, so 18 on each needle, before I kitchener the toe. So the toe looks quite short when compared to socks for myself, but it's because he has quite big and wide feet. So, and this like, my hand complete with my thumb disappears behind it. So anyway, I was here last week. I was almost finished with the gusset, so I have got a decent chunk done this week. Sorry about that. So I got a fair chunk done, and to be quite honest, it was because I just sat in the garden knitting. So yeah, so whip number 1 and a half finished object. And now we should go on to my 2 garment projects. Ooh, we haven't seen this bag in a while, have we? When did I last show this bag? Probably last year. Technically, I've had it out once this year to film a whip roundup, which you'll be seeing in a couple of weeks. But we haven't seen this one for a while, have we? So I'm going to leave that to last. So the first project I'm going to show is my In Between Dreams cardigan. And everything is trying to fall out of this bag. And I am using this, which is Rowan Valley Tweed in the Janet's Foss colourway. I'm pretty sure this is a discontinued yarn. I say this every time. I can only find it in like 2 colours left in stock anywhere on the internet. So whether it's just a case of they haven't made this in a little while but they're planning on restocking, or if it's discontinued, I don't know. I can't really find any information. Then again, I haven't outright Googled, is this yarn discontinued? And last week I was about halfway through the decreases on the first sleeve. Pausing, suspense, building. I have finished the first sleeve. I'm so happy. I have finished the first sleeve. So I still haven't finished the body. But surprisingly, this was a full cake when I started the sleeve, and this is what I have left from 1 cake. So this sleeve took me less than 50 grams to knit, which I'm surprised by. I'm very surprised by it. But it definitely fits. I have tried it on. It's even maybe a tad too long, but I got 1 sleeve out of less than 50 grams, which, yeah, that's pretty good. That reassures me that I should have more than enough yarn to make this full length, because I still have 6 full skeins of this. I've already wound up 1 ready for the second sleeve, but I'm going to use what's left of that cake first. I don't like wasting yarn. Like, I'm not gonna like have tons of like random 10-gram balls lying around. So I will probably pick up the next sleeve in a couple of days. I I have decided to take a few days off from this. So I finished this sleeve on Tuesday. It's Thursday at the time of recording. So I finished this Tuesday night. And I'm not putting it in hibernation. I'm just taking a couple of days off. And the reason for that is I don't like knitting magic loop. And I haven't got a small enough cable or a small enough set of needles to work the sleeve in round, just on a short circular. And to be quite honest, knitting magic loop I do get a little bit fatigued with. So this is going to take a couple of days off, just give me something else to do and stuff, and then I'll come back and pick up the next sleeve to work it. I think this took me 2 weeks. There was also a lot of stop-starting, trying it on. Now that I know exactly how long I need to make it, because I've kept detailed notes, plus I've got all the stitch markers, it should be quicker once I pick it up and go. And then I can go back to working the body. I did make an alteration on this. I've made quite a few. So I'm knitting this in fingering weight yarn. The pattern calls for sport weight yarn. This was the yarn I had. So I went up a pattern size, but I have gone down 1/4 millimeter size on the recommended. It is producing like a nice loose fabric, a light. It's not stiff. It's got a lot of movement and a lot of drape, but it's not like so loose that it's not going to give me the warmth I need, because it's a cardigan. I have also omitted buttonholes. This is just going to be an open cardigan. I'm not going to have this as a button-up cardi. And I've also decided to change the finishings on the bottom of, like, at the cuffs and when I get to the bottom of the cardigan. So in the pattern, it tells you to do, it's basically a 1x1 rib, but there's like a panel of garter stitch. I didn't like that. I looked at the pattern photo a few times and decided I don't like that. So I've decided to finish all of the edges in the same way the top edge at the neck is, and that's with 6 rounds of garter stitch. If you can work out the rest of this pattern from 6 rounds of garter stitch, well done. But yeah. So also, this is still looking really blue. I forgot to tell you what I'm wearing, but I think especially when paired next to this looks really blue. It's not, it's green. It's definitely green. I don't really know how best to show this, because I have messed with the settings on my camera so many times to try and make this colour accurate, and this is the most colour accurate I can get it. Do I have any blue I can put it next to? Does that look better? Kind of. But yeah. So that's where I've come with this one. As I said, I'm going to take a couple of days off it. Not because I'm not enjoying it, I'm just getting magic loop fatigue. I know there are some people who swear by magic loop. The owner of my local yarn shop swears by magic loop. It's not for me. I don't mind doing it on the toe of a sock or for like a few rounds, but when I have to use magic loop on sleeves, I do get a little bit of magic loop fatigue, to the point that I was actually considering knitting the sleeve flat and seaming it up. But I thought that might look odd given the rest of the garment is knit in one piece with no seams. So now I should tell you what I'm wearing. Still building suspense for this one. So, this is my Plant Lady top by Agata Makiewicz. And I've just realised I was wearing another one of her patterns last week. So this was the first one I made of hers. Unfortunately, her patterns are no longer available online on Ravelry. I don't know why. I don't know if she said why on Instagram or something. I'm not sure. Very sad. I had a couple of other of her patterns kind of on my radar that I wanted to make eventually, but I never bought the patterns, and now I can't get the patterns. So I'm sorry you can't get this, but this has lace on the bottom. She's known for a lot of lacy patterns, so this has lace. I'll put a picture here of what it does look like so you can get a better look. And the yarn I used for this was by Creative Anarchy. If you've been around this channel for a while, you've probably already guessed, yes, this is the Portuguese base. It's the only base I've ever bought from Creative Anarchy, which I might have to try some of her other bases, but I absolutely love this base, and as far as I can tell, she's the only dyer that has this base. And this colourway is Emerald City, and it's very big and oversized, and I absolutely adore this. This I knit in 2024 because I decided I gave myself the challenge to finish this before I went to Canada, and I managed it, and I wore it once. But yeah, I love this top. I wear it a lot in the summer. It is very big and oversized, and I think I could have gone with going down a pattern size, because although it looks okay at the moment, it has a nasty habit of going like this, and I tend to be walking around like this wearing it, which is fine, except I'm currently wearing a red bra, so I currently look like I'm sporting a Christmas look. I don't have an issue with my bra strap showing. I know some people do get a bit funny about having their bra strap on show. It's all personal choice. I haven't got an issue with it, mostly because I don't have the option to go without a bra, because I have quite big set of girls. So bra strap, it doesn't bother me. It's everyone's preference. Like, if you prefer to have tops and stuff that keeps your bra strap concealed, maybe go down a suggested pattern size at the neck to bring it in a bit, because this is very open. Like, damp hair out the way. Like, even when I have this just normally, like, they're still peeking. Like, thankfully, in most cases, my hair is like this, so unless you're looking for it, you can't really spot it, but... And now, what have we not seen in a while? Oh yes, I have pulled this back out to work on as part of my finish along. So this whip was cast on last year. I can't remember when last year, I think it was about March last year. And it is using, funnily enough, some yarn I bought when I was in Canada, which I made this for. And it is the Hulstgarn Super Softs in the colourways Imperial Purple and Peony. And I am making a very, very modified version of the stick season sweater. So, to the point that it's not actually not a sweater. So, that's the stick season sweater by Rebecca Clow of the Cry Bear Knitting Podcast. I have already knit one of these for my other half. I made him a brown one, which I would like to show you, but it's currently drying because he wore it half the winter. And I decided that I really liked it and I wanted my own version. and then decided I would really like that as a sweater vest. So I am making a sweater vest version, which is not in the pattern. I am having to like kind of make this bit up as I go. And if you'll notice in the pattern picture, it's one colour. I'm using two. And so I'm trying to I think I asked what this, like this was reminding me of something, so here it is. I think I asked last year what this reminded people of, and I think somebody answered Cheshire Cat, and this is my Cheshire Cat sweater vest. So I was here the last time you saw it, and I now have, I've now finished the back yoke. I've picked up the left and knitted it till it joins the neck, and have picked up the other side and started knitting it. So we are progressing with it. So this has a kind of like a rib texture for the yoke, and then it's this sort of, it's knit all in one piece from the top down, but there's a lot of knitting flat to begin with until you join at the underarms. It also becomes a stockinette piece of work, or mostly stockinette piece of work, once you join in the round, with a rib detail down the sides. So once this gets to the point of being basically round and round knitting, this will probably fly off the needles. To be honest, since I picked this up yesterday, that I've actually done quite a bit of work on it. So progress. It is currently on a lot of needles. It's currently on a lot of cords, needles. So I've got all the backs still on hold. I've got the fronts that I finished on hold, plus my live stitches. And I ran out of my shorter cables, so this side is on a long cable, but I figured I'd just leave it on the long cable, because once I put this side on, it's still knit flat. And then I'll pick the rest up and work it in the round, and this will be the perfect length cable for that. So it just means for a little bit I've got a lot flapping around making noise. So we have progress on the Cheshire Cat sweater vest. And there's something else. There's another alteration to the fact that I'm making this a sweater vest. This is fingering weight yarn. Yeah, quite a light fingering weight yarn, and the pattern is for DK. I've just gone up, no, I've gone down a millimetre size, like half a millimetre size, I think, and up a pattern size again. Because it's a sweater vest, I kind of just added a little bit of length just to make sure the armhole's deep enough. And since there's not going to be a sleeve, I'm just going to like pick up and knit just 5 or 10 rounds of rib just to sort of finish it off. If it needs it, to be honest, it might not need it because of the rib detail that's going down it anyway. I might be able to get away with not even finishing the armholes. I also only have 5 skeins in total. I have 2 of the peony and 3 of the imperial purple. So the neckline, the bottom ribbing, and if it needs finishing at the armholes, will be done in the imperial purple. This is also going to be either sort of a not quite like full length like a sweater would be, but not cropped either. It's kind of going to sit sort of at like top of my jeans height, or until I run out of yarn, whichever comes first. Because all of this is dependent on how much peony I've got. because I can't get any more of this in this dye lot. When I bought this yarn from the Knitting Loft, they did not have a full like sweater quantity of any of the colours I liked. I ended up putting these two together because I really liked them. I quite like pink. Pink is one of my favourite colours. I don't really wear much pink other than my like pink roots hoodie, also got from Canada. I also quite like purple. So the colours I wear a lot of are like purple, green and black. So this kind of will help branch it out a bit so that I've got a little bit of colour in my wardrobe and go out of my comfort zone a little bit. Because as much as I love pink, I don't really think most shades of pink suit me. So yeah. And knitting wise, that is everything. I've got a little bit of life stuff to mention. As some of you might be aware, if you've been around for a little while, I've been waiting on a date for an operation. I finally have the date for my operation, which is the 14th of June. So there will be a podcast episode next week. However, the week after that, it will be a video I recorded back at the beginning of May, which is a whip roundup. A couple of the whips in there are now finished, so I will mark those off. I'll have to re-edit, like just a little bit, just to say that they're finished. I don't know if there'll be another video after that. There might be a week without a video, unless I split that whip roundup into two. So if there is a week without a video, please don't worry, I'm just recovering from surgery. I'm hoping that just 2 weeks and then I'll sort of be back. Which when I'm back, I'm sure there'll be plenty to talk about, because I'm sure I've had lots of knitting time, because I've been informed I will be recovering from my operation and I will not be doing anything. My partner clearly doesn't know me enough to know that he's literally going to have to fight me to stay in bed. I'm a bit of a busybody. I'm always doing something. I don't like to just sit down for like hours and hours and hours and hours and hours knitting, unless it's like the hour and a half to 2 hours right before bed. Yeah, I finally have the date for that. So you're all probably there cheering, going, woohoo, we can stop hearing about her, whinge about it, woohoo! I'm sorry. When you're waiting on the NHS to get round to the operation that they say you desperately need, you know, this isn't a, well, it's supposed to be keyhole. It might end up being more than keyhole. This is one of the situations where it's for endometriosis, and it's keyhole surgery to remove scar tissue and to counteract the chronic pain I am in because of it. However, anybody who suffers from endometriosis is probably well aware they can sometimes say it's all going to be keyhole, and then you wake up with a bloody great gash across your chest because they've had to take out a ball of scar tissue. And until they're in there, they don't really know. Scar tissue doesn't show up as well on scanning equipment. It's really difficult, especially if it's a lot of little bits all over. So hopefully it's just like a little keyhole surgery and I'll be recovered quickly. I can hope. Yeah, like, I'd say wish me luck, but wish the surgeon luck. He's the one that's got to dig in my insides. And other than that, there's not really much to say. I've not really got up to much beyond normal life. I'm gonna have to go to the hospital for a blood test in the coming week. And that's about it, really. yeah, that's what's coming up. Oh, I also need to take my car for repair, but apparently nobody wants to get back to me with quotes for how much that's going to be. Or, no, one garage technically did call me back. And they said, oh, we're so sorry, we can't find that part on our system. Could you bring the car in so that we can strip that section of car down to get the part number off it? No. Because once you strip that section of car down, my car is stuck there until it's repaired. And if I don't like your quote, if I don't like how much you're going to charge, I don't really have much of a choice. So, yeah, I think I've got a lot more calling up to do, which making phone calls. I don't like making phone calls. I don't like calling. If I have to contact somebody, I would much rather do it in person. I would rather go to a garage and like get a quote. No, everything's done by phone call. Send help. I might have to do some knitting to recover from all the phone calls I'm going to have to make. Oh dear. What a shame. Oh no. Anyway, I will leave it here for this week, guys. I hope you have an amazing week. I hope if you're in America, you're enjoying the summer vacation, if you get that. Or if you're in Australia, I hope you're enjoying coming into winter. Anyway, I shall leave it here, and I hope to see you next time. Bye, guys.